Bitcoin has been dropping back today, in line with our expectations. Now, we have been covering Bitcoin quite a lot recently, trying to navigate our way through this recent pullback with BTC to see what happens next and to see where things do lie in the future. This video is not going to be any different. We're going to be taking a look at the recent Bitcoin pullback and try to confirm what is likely to occur next. As we get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. Really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't yet joined us on Discord, link in the description down below. Do head over there. We're in there posting charts and things like that as well, so it's always worth kind of get a bit of a heads up on what's going on, and you'll find that in our Discord server, so do check that out. Right, with all that said and out of the way, let's actually jump out into the charts for Bitcoin, take a look at what is going on, and hopefully reassure you guys with what is likely to occur next. Okay guys, so we've been talking about this for a while, it feels. We obviously were talking about the initial kind of crash that we had, the push up with the expectation. We saw the ABC move here, and then obviously we started to see that local top come in. We pulled back again, the AB, and then we were basically following and waiting for that C wave. So basically this time yesterday, I was kind of doing this video, just kind of talking about, you know, what I do expect to happen over the next sort of 24 to 48 hours. And what we can see here is basically yesterday, we were kind of trading sideways just across here around that 50k level. I'm sure I sounded like an absolute idiot at the time saying that we were expecting this pullback, and this is the dip that I was going to buy, right? That's exactly kind of the terminology that I was using, right? Basically, you know, people were saying, oh, you know, we're going to buy this dip here, for example, but I was actually waiting for this scenario, okay? And I'll go through why in a second. So what we can see here is basically the pullback just in line with the expectations. It's actually a little bit lower than I was expecting it to be, okay? So I'll go through what I was expecting. So we obviously have the high here of our A wave down. Okay, we take this this high and we'll go ahead and move it on top of our B high. Okay, so that high level of A, move it over to the high level of B. And you can see here, I put the C wave at 47,900, right? But there is a level of support just down here, which we're just currently just dipping below at the moment, which came in at 47,700, right? But if we actually take a look at these candles at this particular level, you know, I was saying that we're probably targeting out that $47,500 range, and this is because there's a lot of kind of consolidation in this area. So my expectations are that we'll probably pull back. In fact, actually, we can just take a look at this candle here from a couple hours ago. Yeah, 47,500 exactly, right? There is almost rhythm and rhyme to this kind of level of manipulation. We don't see this kind of behavior very often, right? But when you do, these are not coincidences, and I'll go through that, right? So we can see right here, today's low is 47,500 exactly. Okay, that's where we were at the moment. Now we are dipping down a little bit, right? But we're not sure we're going to go down any lower than that, which is really odd. But obviously, when we actually take a look at our daily, we can just ignore this for a second. We had two all-time highs that were set after that 65k, right? We had the all-time high that was set up here at $67,000 to the penny. Okay, we had the small pullback. Then we set another all-time high, $69,000 to the penny. And then today, what do we see? We see a pullback down to $47,500 to the penny. Very odd behavior, right? That is clear kind of manipulation. You don't generally see, you know, penny exact values. Right? They're very, very rare that you would ever see these things. But when you have three of them in a very short space of time on different timelines, the daily charts, for example, and of course, the hourly chart, that is very, very odd, right? We can see that we're pushing back down a little bit here as well, so we'll watch out for that. But that was kind of my area. I was looking at $47,500. It's interesting to see how that's kind of played out. The stochastic RSI, that is obviously oversold. Okay, so that's interesting. On this hourly chart, we're oversold. On the daily, we're just down there on the oversold area. On the weekly, heading down into that oversold area. We all know what happens once you're oversold. You do get that push to the upside, as previously indicated here on this hourly chart with our B wave. Okay, so what's next, right? So we can see that we complete the ABC move. That's kind of completing it right now. It's not going impulsive down. So what we'll do is we'll grab hold of this fib, we'll delete it off for a second, and we'll actually run it the other way around. For the downward motion, we'll grab that, put it on top of B, And basically, if we were impulsive, we're going down below this red line here at $46,500. Okay, going down lower than that level basically indicates that actually this is not a ABC move, but in fact, it would actually be labeled up, or should be labeled up correctly, as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move. If I can draw my fifth wave, there it is. Like so. Okay, that would be an impulsive move down. We aren't looking like that until this C wave continues to crash down past $46,500, which is not my expectation. My expectation is to keep it as an ABC move, and the reason for that is, as you can see, if I zoom on out here and bring this down a little bit, we can actually see that there is this move going on here. This is a larger A, B, and C move. This is on the daily chart, by the way, guys. Okay, so this ABC on our hourly, this small one that we're just monitoring, that we're calling out at $47,500, this ABC should actually come in line with our B wave of this ABC move. Now, when we actually go ahead and measure the distance on this, right, and we actually grab hold of the bottom of this area, we push this up, we can see that we're actually consolidating down just to that area. But actually, if we take consideration of actually, that wick out of it, and we grab hold of our fib areas, let's see if we can just grab that there and put that on top of our A wave, we can see that actually we're coming right down into that 618, 702, 786 area. The 786 area is just below that $47,500, and that's your reversal point, right? Going down, of course, to that 1.382 would be impulsive, down on a much larger time scale. Again, not expecting that move. That would be bear market scenario, and we're not seeing that. We're actually seeing the opposite of that. We're seeing a complete reversal of the market. Okay, so it's important that we understand that this larger ABC move is in play here. And all those micro movements that we're seeing on the hourly chart, going down to $47,500, for example, it's actually completing this B wave here, which means what is next? Well, we're looking at that C wave up next, okay? So that's the next thing that we're looking for. Now, in order to actually understand that, that move in itself, we're going to use the fib again. We're going to take it from the high point just up here to that low point. And what we're going to do is we're just going to measure that distance, right, from our low point today up to where our C wave expectation would be, right up there at $57,500, pretty much. So that's kind of the expectation, right? We measure the distance of A, the pullback for B, and then that shows us approximately where we would expect C to land, a 1-to-1 ratio with A. Now, sometimes this is short, sometimes it's longer. Okay, if it goes past that 1.382 instead of an ABC move, this actually would become an impulsive move to the upside, right? You'd have the 1, 2, 3 move, 4, and then a 5th move to the upside, okay? We don't think that's going to happen just yet, obviously, but it's on the cards. What I am looking for, though, is the completion of this C move. This C wave in itself is very, very important, okay? And it's important for a couple of things, right? Now, whether you're bullish or bearish is is kind of irrelevant to the data right now, because they both are backed up with what's going on here in the technicals. So I'm going to quickly remove this and shoot up into our daily view. Okay, so whether we are bullish or bearish, okay, that's entirely up to you. Whatever you believe is the case is the case. The data here is basically formed a head and shoulder pattern, okay? This head and shoulder pattern is bearish, okay? And it would basically be indicating this move to the downside. Okay, that's the kind of longer term play. But for that bearish move to actually play out, we have to see this C wave high in first. Okay, so for the data right now, it doesn't care whether people are bullish or bearish per se, but the expectation of this data is to complete this right hand shoulder. You can only complete that right hand shoulder by moving up into this C wave and reaching that 57 high area, and then do expect to pull back, right? And then that is where, it matters whether we are bullish or bearish, because this will either be an ABC move here with a reversal of an ABC back up, not completing the head and shoulder pattern, or this might be a 1 through 5 bearish move to the downside, okay? Likewise, we can also acknowledge that this ABC move might also be an impulsive move to the upside, invalidating the head and shoulder pattern, right? So for right now, the only thing that matters is getting that C wave in, okay, completing the C wave move, and then reviewing what the data is suggesting. Are we suggesting then that a pullback down into this right-hand shoulder is going to happen, or is the data suggesting a more bullish move to the upside with all-time highs? Okay, that's what's kind of apparent on the daily chart. Even that is actually quite a small data set, and we should also kind of zoom out from here to see the bigger picture as well. Okay, so obviously we've started at the hourly view. We've kind of built up that small ABC, what's happening right now today. And obviously that's part of this ABC move to the upside to complete the right shoulder on the daily. But what about that weekly view, right? Well, the weekly view is showing us with a nice kind of 5-wave move to the upside, right? And this pullback right now is an interesting one. The red line is indicating the Gaussian channel. We've spoken about that a few times. The dropping below and closing the weekly chart below that red line there would be considered a bearish scenario where we would see a bear market, right? You just completely fall out. No alt season. Well, alt season should actually start at that point. And then obviously after that, complete bear market for up to 18 months. Okay, so closing in the Gaussian channel on the weekly chart wouldn't be very beneficial to many people in the space unless you're waiting for that bear market, which, for the most part, I am kind of waiting for the bear market, but I don't think now is the right time for it. I think that's going to come much, much later. Okay, so obviously taking a look at the trends, we can see, okay, well, there's good trends going on here with BTC. This is a huge deviation, right? A huge deviation that we wouldn't normally kind of expect to see inside this fifth wave. But we do know that there's a lot of manipulation going on with Bitcoin right now. And considering how small of a market it is, it's very easy for whales and market makers, as Matt from 𝗖𝗢𝗠𝗠𝗘𝗡𝗏 would say, to manipulate the space, right? So we have to be aware of these things that are going on. Overall, though, things are looking very interesting to the upside, and I do think the bigger picture here is that we are likely to set a new all-time high. But again, we won't know for sure until this pattern plays out one way or another, with the head and shoulders either pulling us down into that bear market scenario, or whether or not we end up going to new all-time highs and validating this pattern altogether. But for right now, it's important that we do know what this recent pullback is all about. Right, okay, setting that low at $47,500 and triggering in this C wave to the upside. Again, my expectation here is that you'd have an A, a B, and a C wave in here. So 2 up, 1 down, okay? Nothing moves in straight lines. So do expect some pretty good kind of price appreciation. Again, this will be something similar to this kind of move, but you won't see it in straight lines. There'll be green, green, a little bit of red, green, 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 and so forth, right? Because you can continue to kind of analyze this on lots of different timelines, and you'd find that you'd have a bunch of ABC moves inside all of these. I'm not going to go into too much detail on that, but basically this C wave for our daily will comprise of an ABC move, in my opinion, on the hourly. And of course, if you were to go down into a, 30-minute chart, you'll probably find an ABC move inside this A wave and so forth, right? So our expectation is to bottom out now where we are, and today, 47.5K might drop down a tiny bit more, but to be honest with you, to see the level of manipulation at 47,500 to the penny, I don't expect it to go down lower. And then we're basically now going into this A wave. And again, we'll be looking at 2 up, 1 down across this larger C wave piece. Overall, Bitcoin's looking pretty promising for a push to the upside. Once we get to the top here, about $57,000, my expectation will be to see either that turn impulsive to the upside and continuing its upward direction, or we'll see an ABC down and then basically see that right shoulder on the daily chart come in. And as a result of that, we'll see potentially a bearish scenario. So one to watch out for on the larger time frame. But the hourly right now is looking pretty good. We should be looking for a pretty good price spike to the upside to complete those patterns. And everything's kind of coming up, at least for the next week or so, I would have thought, all Bitcoin. And then after that, we'll have to review the situation. But guys, I'm going to leave the video there. If you have found this useful and informative, then do go ahead and hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you're not going to miss another video that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with all that said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.